Good afternoon again, future CPAs. Our discussion for today would then be the second to the last chapter ng Unit 2 ng ating book, which talks about the strategic cost management concepts and techniques for planning and control. So for Chapter 9, we will discuss decentralized operations and segment reporting. If you would recall, yung Chapter 8 natin talks about yung ating another contemporary cost management technique, which is yung life cycle costing, and also the consideration of target costing and theory of constraint. Now for now, this is a different topic, which is about, again, decentralized operations and segment reporting. So before we move forward, let's first have a glance of what decentralized and centralized is. So this is actually a comparison of the two. When we say centralized, decision making and control are concentrated at the top leadership level or within a specific department. Meaning to say, ang nagde-decide pa rin or ang primarily responsible pa rin sa lahat ng decision is still the top management. Meaning to say, yung president or yung board of directors. So this structure promotes uniformity and consistency across the entire organization, standardizing processes and policies. But then, we have to take note that although the benefit of using centralized model is that it retains the control. Kumbaga naiiwan pa rin sa top management yung control. Kaya lang, it is not applicable at all times. Lalo na ngayon, especially depende sa structure, depende sa line of business. Yung pagpili natin if we would still follow yung centralized or mag-shift na tayo sa decentralized. Now, the different one naman is the decentralized. Now, decentralized operations has something to do when the decision-making power is distributed across multiple teams, departments, or geographic locations. So this approach fosters flexibility and responsiveness, allowing units to adapt to local market conditions or specific customer needs. So the difference between the two is that yung centralized kasi, from the word itself, naka-sentro sa top management. Ang decentralized naman is distributed. If you will look into the figure, yung mga lines or the lines are all concentrated, hindi dito sa centralized, dun sa core. Unlike dito sa decentralized, merong core, the main one, pero may mga maliliit na mukhang core din. So, the large one or the biggest one might refer to the top management. The smaller circles might refer to the different unit heads, we can say. So, the process of being said that in decentralization kanina, decentralization is actually the process of delegating the decision-making authority throughout an organization. So, obviously, on the illustration that we can see on the screen, yung delegation na yun, although may mga mas maliliit na circles, yung circle ay all connected with the center. So, moving forward, why do we have to shift to decentralize? So, number one answer is, definitely, it is actually a strategic shift. Just imagine, let's just have an example para madaling i-link. Kasi number one na sagot nga is strategic shift with strategic focus. The top management, the corporate level, should focus on the strategic, on their strategic roles. So just imagine, ang isang contractor, medyo matunog itong ating term na binanggit. Ang isang construction or contractor ng construction industry, both public and private, let's say multi-billionaire na at this moment. Just imagine if this multi-billion company is engaged with 100 projects dahil nga bilyonaryo na siya. Sa tingin pa natin, it would be still effective kung yung petty cash na request amounting to 2,000, not even na 10,000 or a million, si President pa ang mag-approve. Diba? Very operational yung binanggit natin na situation. The top management is freed from day-to-day operational decisions. Yun yung number one. Pag nagkaroon ng decentralization, there is a delegation of decision making, meaning to say the lower management would then be responsible on their role sa day-to-day operational decisions. Ang management ngayon or the top management, the corporate level ones would then be concentrated on the long-term strategy and growth initiatives. So, aside from that is the empowered leadership. So, number one kanina, mas natutuon na yung focus ng top management sa strategic strategic decisions, at yung operational ay delegated na sa lower management. Number two, being delegated na yung decision making sa lower management for specifically dun sa mga operational decisions, it empowers leadership. So, lower level managers gain invaluable decision making experience, fostering professional development and boosting job satisfaction. So, balik tayo sa example natin ng multi-billion na contracting business. So, si contracting business, kung ba't multi-billion nga, nahati siya ngayon sa different divisions. And for every divisions, that's just si anim. At ang main, o yung core dito ay yung engineering, kasi yun ang construction. Now, from that 6 divisions, yung bawat division ay by bawat department pa. We do have this, let's just say, bukod sa engineering, nandito ang finance and accounting. Actually, this division, doon tayo nabibilang. So, si finance and accounting, nahati pa ulit. So, from finance and accounting. So, empowered leadership on what way? I-link lang natin, just an example. Nandun na tayo sa example natin na multi-billion. Now, sa engineering, being part of the core process, kung ba't sa kanila ang construction, sa kanila ang main line of business. Si Project A, ang nag-handle ay si Engineering A. Si Project B, si Engineering B. Ngayon, for every request, different departments ang naghahawak. So, since this is a decentralized model, decentralized operation, hindi na directly lahat sa management or sa top management ibinabato yung request. Kung magre-request si Engineering A for his project ng materials, magre-request siya ngayon sa materials management. In the case sa si material management sinabing walang stock, magmo-move siya sa another department which is responsible for purchasing, yung procurement. Now, in the case naman na bukod sa materials, request siya ng for allowances. So, kailangan cash dito. When we're talking about the cash, move forward naman yung request sa budget office, which is part of the accounting. If the process, or if the request was already processed or approved, and within the allowed budget, move forward na ngayon kay finance para naman sa scheduling ng release. If we would observe dun sa mga binabanggit natin, the process are not centralized na. So, naka-delegate na ngayon yung lahat ng decision making to different units, to different departments. On that note, it empowers leadership. Ibig sabihin, yung bawat manager sa bawat department sa binanggit natin, they were able to develop professionally and at the same time, nabuboost ngayon yung job satisfaction. Kasi bawat units na yun responsible sa bawat task. So, lastly is agile responsiveness. Decentralization enables quicker, more informed responses to evolving customer needs and dynamic market changes, enhancing competitive edge. Kung lahat kasi ng concern ay ibabato natin sa top management, do you think ganun kabilis ang magiging action? Definitely hindi. Considering the decisions that are being na lahat ng decision na dapat na pagdesisyonan, lahat ng bagay na dapat pagdesisyonan, lahat ng concern na dapat pagdesisyonan ng top management. Kung ikaw nga ay multi-billion company, you were not able to decide each by one or as fast as the lower management can. Considering na halimbawa ang concern niya ay sa materials, mas mabilis ma-address kasi may naka-assign for materials. Kung merong naka-assign for budget, may naka-assign for the labor. Unlike kung lahat yan nahaling sa iisa lang, which is the top management, matagal desisyonan kasi ang dami at we're talking about the operational na. So moving forward, we do have the different strengths of decentralization. So number one, or advantages, we're talking about the strengths or advantages, is it empowers local teams. Being mentioned kanina na since it was delegated to different units or different teams, it empowers local teams. Since delegated kasi yung trabaho, it enables frontline teams to make quick decisions. Yun na nga, kanina kami mention lang natin. Mas mabilis magdesisyon kung yung directly related with the operation ang magde-decide. Kasi definitely, alam niya or yung awareness niya dun sa trabaho. Pangalawa, yung responding dynamically to local market changes and customer feedback and unique regional needs. In our case, we're part of the accounting, which is finance and accounting team. Ang primary customers namin ay yung suppliers, number one, and of course, yung mga nagre-request ng budget. So, sa suppliers, mas mabilis namin ma-address, mas mabilis na kung kami ang mag-a-address kung ang concern ay payment. Pero, kung ang concern ay as to quality, we're not able to address that immediately kasi hindi naman kami yung responsible for that. Yun lang naman yung pinakikita natin, it powers local teams. Number one is fosters innovation. So by granting autonomy, decentralization encourage experimentation and diverse approaches, leading to creative solutions and new product development. For example na lang, since may unit managers per department. Now, every department, we do have this example na, for instance lang naman, na for those groups who would be able to manage or to handle their team effectively is magkakaroon ng bonus. Of course, their team, so going back with fosters innovation, again, it leads to creative solution and new product development. One example of this is that kung delegated in every department, syempre kanya-kanyang strategy yan. Kanya-kanyang gawa ng reports, kanya-kanyang gawa ng solusyon. So, later on, we will discuss more of this pagka nagpakita tayo ng sample problems. So, lastly is boost engagement. Involving employees in decision-making process enhances their sense of ownership, motivation, and job satisfaction, reducing staff turnover. Definitely, as we mentioned din naman on the previous chapters that we discussed, one of the reasons kung bakit nagre-resign ang empleyado is because nawawalan ng growth. And actually, once you delegated a different task or let's just say, you promote, halimbawa na lang, from being supervisor to being a manager, you entrust actually the job or the task to that person. Another example is that kung delegated naman yung trabaho, nagkakaroon kasi ng sense of responsibility si employee. And on that note then, kung nagkakaroon ng sense of responsibility, nandun yung feeling na nasasatisfy siya kasi alam niya or he or she assumes na binigay sa akin itong trabaho dahil tiwala sa akin. So, yung sense of ownership also gives satisfaction to the employees which is nalalesen natin yung employee turnover. So, kung meron tayong strengths or advantages, meron din tayong disadvantage of decentralization. Number one is coordination risk. Potential for poor coordination and communication among highly autonomous business units leading to inefficiencies. So, number two is local versus global goals. So, managers may inadvertently prioritize their segments' performance over arcing company objectives, creating international competition. So, example lang natin, nakita lang na local is global. When we say local kasi, we're talking about the units or the different departments. The global is actually the entire organization. We do have this situation na kung bakit masyadong focus yung managers nila o yung bawat manager to their own units rather than the organization and the entire organization itself, nawawala ngayon yung congruence ng goal. Ibig sabihin, we tend to have this suboptimal or we have this incongruent decision making. Kumbaga, nagkakaroon ngayon ng competitions among the team or among the teams or among the departments kasi nga masyadong focus na ngayon yung managers sa unit nila. So, there's a possibility that it will arise when the decisions benefit to one sub-unit lang is more than offset by the cost or loss of benefits to the organization as a whole. The cost arises because of top management has given up control over decision making. The possibility, maaaring nag-benefit yung specific unit pero hindi nag-benefit yung buong organization. Yun ang isang negative. Number 3 is unified vision or innovation or creation of silos. When you say silos, ito yung nagkakaroon ng isolation. So, related lang din siya sa pagkakaroon ng subunits, challenges in disseminating best practices, scaling innovations, and maintaining cohesive organizational visions across diverse segments. The thing here is that kung ba't focus nga, sample na lang natin, every department kasi bukod dun sa organizational key performance indicators that will measure their performance, meron ding KPIs or key performance indicator in every department. Now, in the case na gustong ma-hit ng isang department yung KPI nila, there is a possibility na kahit ma-compromise yung KPI nung ka-interface ng department or even the organization itself, they would still do. Kasi nga kung yun ay performance measure. So, another thing na binabanggit sa creation of silos is that the possibility na kung ba't meron ng competition, nalilimitahan ngayon yung knowledge o yung innovation within the team lang. Para hindi ka lumabas, kumbaga para angat ikaw yung department natin with others, hindi natin ilalabas itong nalalaman natin na ganito. O pwede yung ganito pero hindi natin ilalabas. Just because of that idea na merong individual goal. And next in line is the risk of duplication. The idea here is that without central coordination, different units may independently develop similar solutions. So, nagkaroon ng waste ng resources and of course effort kasi pare-pares naman pala kayo ng isip ng solution. Kung ba't hiwa-hiwalay nga, the possibility is there is a risk of duplication. And lastly, inconsistent practices. So, maintaining uniform brand identity, service quality, and operational standards across diverse autonomous units can be challenging. So, mahirap pag-implement ng brand identity or service quality lalo na kung magkakaiba ng units. So, pwedeng yung brand na ito, branch na ito ay ganito ang serbisyo, sa branch number 2, a different one. So, that branch number 3 is iba rin. So, these are just some of the challenges of using decentralized operation. Now, what would then be the best model to be used? So, you just have to consider these 4. Prioritize mo yung goals. Pwede naman kasing combination of the 2. You centralize when it comes to uniformity, risk control, cost efficiency, and paramount. Then, decentralize natin when agility, innovation, and local responsiveness matter most. So, we will no longer dig this 4. This is just an additional knowledge for us. We just have to take note that the optimal structure is a strategic decision that aligns with your specific operational context and long term. It is not about choosing one or the other but finding the right blend. So, hindi naman tayo very particular kung isa lang o bawal maghalo. So, it could be a combination of the 2. So, moving forward, the responsibility centers the building blocks of decentralized control. So, effective decentralization relies on clearly defined responsibility centers, each with distinct accountabilities. Actually, responsibility centers, we will talk more about, or it might be discussed already na. It might have been discussed na previously on your cost accounting. Later on, we will have a discussion of the relevant costing. So, later, sa segment reporting, ma-discuss natin yung just a glimpse of the relevant costing. Now, moving forward with the responsibility centers, we do have the cost, the profit, and the investment centers. So cost, managers accountable for controlling the costs within their units, such as production and service department, without direct revenue or investment responsibilities. Sa profit centers naman, managers oversee both costs and revenue, definitely, diba? In preparing previously on your budget, pagka profit center, we consider both the costs and the revenue itself. So it aims to maximize the profit generated by their segment. So example nito include sales division or retail outlets. And lastly, investment center. The centers hold managers responsible for costs, revenues, and strategic asset investments such as a major product division or subsidiary company. So later on, we will discuss more of this. Now moving forward with the second one, which is a segment reporting. The segment reporting measuring what matters. So ano nga ba ang we tend to measure ano nga ba yung what really matters, something like that. So segment reporting provides detailed financial insights for distinct parts of an organization. So it is definitely crucial for evaluating the performance and of course for informing decision. Before we move forward with the computation, let's just have a glimpse of ano nga ba yung nilalaman ng segment reporting. So when we say segment muna, let's first define segment. These are identifiable components such as your product lines, geographic regions, customer channels that warrant separate financial reporting. So, pwede kasi halimbawa na lang yung company ay really into let's just say it is a group of company. So, hindi lang siya focus sa isang industry, sa isang negosyo. Pwedeng merong siyang construction business, merong food and beverages, at meron ding agriculture, for example. So, when we say segment kasi, we're talking about these segments, yung mga binanggit natin na line of business. Pwede rin naman na segment when it comes to kung ano lang yung pinoproduce. Pwede nga pinoproduce lang ay yung product A, product B, product C. So, it could be a different, pwede rin per region. So, segments could be different things. Next is the contribution format. So, segmented income statements employ a contribution format. So, when we say contribution format, it has something to do with, we do have your sales or your revenue, less your variable cost. So, variable costs both in manufacturing and selling and administrative would give you your contribution margin. Kung matatandaan natin yung contribution format, hindi ba? Again, your sales or revenue less your variable cost will give you your contribution margin. Pag binawas natin yung fixed cost, tsaka natin makukuha yung net income or yung profit. So, contribution format is just the segmented income statements employ a contribution format, clearly distinguishing variable costs from fixed costs to highlight segment profitability. So, moving forward with your fixed costs, yung fixed costs natin nahati sa dalawa. It could be traceable or yung allocated fixed cost o pwede naman yung common or yung unallocated fixed cost. When we say traceable kasi, these costs are directly attributable to a specific segment. So, it would disappear if that segment were eliminated. Mawawala yung fixed cost na yon kung mawawala yung specific segment kung saan siya naka-charge. And lastly, common fixed cost kasi, this one is not allocated to any of the segments. So, common. It is shared across multiple segments. These costs would remain even if one segment were removed. So, common siya. Kahit tanggalin mo yung isang segment, nandun pa din yung common fixed cost. So, moving forward with how are we going to apply these theories is, this is an example. We're almost done. So, ito na lang yung ating last example. So, here it is an illustrative problem. So, preparation of segmented income statement. So, from the following data, prepare a segmented income statement for QOR or SHORE company for year 2018 and evaluate the results. So, ang given, hati daw yung division, isang pharmaceutical at isang agricultural. So, kanina diba binanggit natin that segments could be a segment of based on the line of business, kagaya nito, isang pharmaceutical, isang agricultural, po pwede rin naman na the product itself, po pwedeng geographical location, ayun. In this case kasi, it is segregated or divided based on the line of business. So for the sales, the total is 1 million. Distributed siya na 600k pharma and 400k agri. Now for the fixed costs, the controllable or what we are referring to traceable fixed costs for is like the total is 250, 130k pharma, 120k agri. Controlled by others, 120 and total 70-50. So kung makikita natin, these are really explain naman na although these are fixed costs, pero controllable deviation, controllable by others. Then variable, eto na. But when we say controllable kasi regardless yan, parang lumalabas kasi when we say controllable, these are traceable. So, ayun. Another given is your variable. So, meron ding pagkakahati. Definitely, madaling ma-distinguish yan sa variable. And definitely, merong binigay na given na unallocated. So, pag nilatag natin ito, the first line, of course, is your sales. Yung contribution format ang gagamitin po natin. So, 1 million, tas segregated siya. 600k pharma, agri is 400. So, sa variable cost, we list down both the manufacturing and your selling for us to get the contribution margin. So, may given naman na lahat po ito. Now, here it is. After considering or computing for your contribution margin, you then less all your controllable or your traceable fixed costs. So, dito pinakita lang na controlled by division managers para makita lang yung contribution margin by division managers. Then, fixed costs, pero controlled pa din, yun nga lang by others. After deducting those, you'll have your divisional or yung ating tinatawag na segment margin. So, obviously, kung ang magiging manner of reporting is segmented, you can dito pa lang makikita nyo na kung anong division yung talagang kumikita. So, kung mawawala kasi si agricultural, mawawala din yung allocated fixed cost na attributable, allocated sa kanyang fixed cost. So, mawawala yung 120 and at the same time yung 50. So, mawawala yon. Ang matitira is yung 130 and 70, so 200. Considering that, mawawala ito, we're now discussing about the relevant costing. Kasi ang isang sa mga kino-consider sa relevant costing is that, is it still profitable ba dun sa entire organization kung i-retain yung agricultural or division? Kasi kung titingnan natin, negative yung naging segment margin niya. Nagkakaroon siya ng loss. Kung aalisin naman natin ito, matitira 600, ang divisional segment margin nito ay 110. Kung ibabawas natin yung unallocated na 60, it would be more profitable. Kasi magiging 50,000 yung net income. Obviously, bakit nagkaganon? Kasi meron tayong 40,000 na loss pagdating sa agricultural division. Na-absorb ngayon yun ng 110,000 na na segment margin ng pharmaceutical, kaya ang ending 70. Kaya lang, dun sa segment margin, meron pa tayong unallocated na common costs which are fixed then, na hindi natin pwedeng alisin regardless kung aalisin o i-retain mo sa agricultural, which is in total amount of 60. Pag binawas natin sa 70, 10 lang. Pero doon nga, as part of your relevant costing, kung aalisin natin itong agricultural division, it would definitely be more profitable for the shore company. Bakit? Madadagdag ngayon, kung aalisin kasi natin, the computation would then be 110 pa din, pero ile-less na natin yung 60. So, 110 less yung 60, definitely, yung magiging final or yung net income mo ay 50,000 na. So, from 10, magiging 50. Kaya, the other thing that we have to consider, kung ang magiging tanong sa'yo is, are you going to retain the agricultural division or not? On the financial aspect, definitely, you'll decide not to retain the agricultural division anymore. I hope we're getting the point. Why is it important na nagkakaroon ng segmental income statement or segment reporting, no? So, moving forward, we're almost ending the discussion. Segment margin, the key performance indicator. So, KPI. The segment margin is a pivotal metric for assessing the long-term viability and profitability of. Yun nga, kanina nakita natin na between the pharmaceutical and the agricultural, si pharmaceutical talagang kumikita naman. Ito lang, si agricultural medyo hindi ganong okay. So, it is actually a key performance indicator, yung segment margin. So, ito pinakita lang how it is being calculated. And strategic value, definitely it provides the most reliable measure of a segment's inherent profitability, guiding decisions on resource allocation and of course expansion and or divestment. So, definitely, kung magiging tanong do sa previous problem natin kanina, would you still retain into the agricultural division or not, or just focus with your pharmaceutical? Definitely, it would be more profitable for this short company to invest na lang or mag-focus na lang sa pharmaceutical instead of both. So, avoiding distortion. It is crucial to avoid allocating common fixed cost to individual segments. So, nagiging concern kasi, paano daw i-allocate yung unallocated, kaya nga unallocated na yung fixed cost as much as possible, kung given naman na yung segmented margin, itotal na lang natin at saka natin ibawas. Kasi yan, as much as possible, we try to avoid yung distortion. Nangyayari kasi, ina-allocate pa, unallocated nga. So, on what manner are we going to allocate these unallocated fixed costs? So, doing so can artificially inflate or deflate the segment's perceived performance, leading to flawed strategic decisions. Maaari kasi, halimbawa, in the case to sa kanina, sa pharmaceutical and agricultural, what if ang naging allocation is 80 and 20? Biglang liliit ngayon, o pwede naman 100% lahat kay pharmaceutical, 'di ba? So, it could definitely affect yung performance naman ng specific department or segment na yon, hindi ba? So, idea behind that is that the practice of assigning non-traceable or common cost segment is another business practice that leads to distorted segment cost. So, ayun, it would only affect na talaga yung performance ng another segment. So, these are just example of the real-world example ng ating segmenting or segment reporting. So, in conclusion, the decision plus your segment reporting is equals to organizational empowerment. So, on what note? Number one, we, through precision and accountability. So, nangyayari po kasi decentralization since the decision making is delegated into different units. For more focus on the operational or day-to-day operational activities, nagkakaroon din tayo ng segment reporting. On that note, it enables precise performance measurement and clear accountability, translating into better resource allocation. Kung yung decision making is delegated into different units or different segments, mas alam nilang engage directly with that units yung pangailangan ng kanilang department. And on that note, they can, let's just say, kung ito yung resources na kailangan namin, on their segment reporting naman, they will definitely show how they perform. So another one is dual strategic focus. Since may nakafocus dun sa operations, which are the lower management, yung report being generated by these lower management regarding their segments would then be forwarded sa ating top or the corporate level. Nagkakaroon ngayon ng dual strategic focus. Kung ang lower management, ang focus nila yung operation or day-to-day operation, ang strategic decisions are now being handled or being focused by the top management. So, drives strategic focus at the corporate level and fosters operational excellence within each segment. And lastly, definitely empowered innovation. Since it is delegated to different units, kanina kahit nagkakaroon ng challenges as to communication, we have to take note na two heads are better than one. So, being delegated ang bawat decision, maraming ulo ang nag-iisip. It empowers managers to innovate, adapt rapidly, and consistently deliver value in today's dynamic markets. So, this would end our discussion. I just wanted you to remind that this spotted combination represents the future of effective organizational design and enhances financial transparency. So, that would be the end of our discussion. Very quick lang po talaga ang decentralized. It just shows kung paano lang mag-delegate ng decisions, ng decision making, and at the same time, how are we going to measure the performance of each segments or each group through segment reporting naman. So, that would be the end of our discussion. I hope may na-absorb at natutunan po tayo. So, on our next meeting, we will be discussing the last chapter for the Unit 2, which is yung variable costing. Madali lang din po ito. Again, thank you, and I hope we're all safe, future CPAs. Thank you.